Discipline. No teacher wants to have discipline problems in their classroom, and the reality is the excellent teacher tends to have fewer discipline problems. To have good discipline in your room, you have to work at it. It doesn't just fall from the sky. So there are ways of doing that, and I can give you a few tips on things that work for me. It starts right from the very first class. I would have everything set before the students even got into the classroom. I'd have a seating plan. They would have their names on their desks. I, in my social science course, collected news articles about things that we were going to talk about during the school term, and each desk had an article on the desk. Kids would come in, they would sit where they were asked to sit, and usually I did it alphabetically, and they might ask me, well, why do we have to do this? And my answer was, well, it makes it easier for me to pick up the papers in alphabetical order. But the reality there is, too, that you're avoiding kids sitting with their friends and creating problems right from the beginning. So when they come in, they sit down, I get them right to work. Ask them to read the article, tell them what its purpose is, and state their own opinion about it. We take about 2 or 3 days to do that, go around the class. The students will tell about their article, they'll give their personal opinion. We'll take a minute or two to get some opinions around the class. I don't hesitate to ask students. I have their names on a seating plan, so I have that right away, and they get a sense that I'm in control and that this is a place where we're going to do some work and it's a serious learning environment. So about the third or fourth day, then I talk about the course outline, which many people do right in the beginning, and what we're going to be doing and some of the things that they can look forward to. But we've already established that groundwork of work, and they really wonder, well, what's happened here? Before you know it, and I read this to you here in my book, students, you have organized them with a seating plan and instructions. You have them reading, thinking, and writing. You have them speaking to the class. You have them expressing their opinions. You've started a form of class discussion. You have established teacher control and discipline. You have instilled the importance of classwork and work ethic. This teacher means business and wants to do serious work and wants our involvement. So it works. I collect these articles every summer over the course of each year and have them ready to go for the first day of class. And we're off and running before by the fourth day, and then we get into our regular routine and our programs. And even there, you have to explain what your expectations are and enforce them. You know, they come in, they're ready to work, they sit down, and they listen and they participate. So that's one little trick of the trade. Positive learning environment, that's important. One of the things too, you know, you want to talk to students when they're coming in for class. As time goes on and you've established your class rules and discipline, get to know them even outside of class. Ask them what they're doing and what kind of hobbies they have and what kind of part-time jobs they may have, or their favorite music, or positive interactions wherever possible. And that carries back into the classroom in a very, very good way. So it's a non-threatening way of talking to students and getting them to be on your side. I think also the issue of discipline will happen. It's not going to be perfect. And so when I have student teachers, I tell them, you know, first of all, make sure that they're listening while you're talking. That's a basic rule. And if you you sense a little problem while you're teaching, don't stop and make it an issue. Just walk down, keep talking, walk down, stand beside that student, and it'll take care of itself. They know why you're there. They don't like you in their personal space, and you've solved the problem very subtly and no problems. So it's a good method, and student teachers have tried it, and they come back and say, hey, that really works. Yes, the vice principal is there to deal with discipline issues, but as I said before, that's the last resort. When you establish good discipline in your classroom, very rarely then will you have to use a student sent to the office approach, and that's just not necessary because you've done the work. And administration will know that pretty quickly, what teachers are having their problems and those that are not. I have a little story to tell too. I would do little things like talk to a student after class if they had been late. Don't make an issue of it when they come in. Just say welcome, sit down. Then after, you say something to them. I know one time I had a student that missed a few classes and was late, and I asked him, let's assume that you were working and I was your boss and you were late. What do you think your boss would say to you? And the student said, well, he'd say, don't do it again. And I'd say, no, he'd say, you're fired. So the student was never late again, and that solved that problem. But it's a friendly thing. It's not a threatening thing that you want, a threatening approach that you want to take. I think too, when you're interested in extracurricular activities, that carries over into the classroom. I mentioned this before, and they see you as part of the total school and contributing to the school in a larger way, and that creates respect for that teacher as well. If things aren't working out as well as you would like before any visit to the vice principal, I suppose, phone call at home always is useful, and again, it's only in certain circumstances, but some schools ask teachers, especially in the first grade of high school, to phone all the parents and just introduce themselves, and that creates an atmosphere of trust, and students realize that you're communicating with their parents, so they better behave. I know that the approach of trying to be the buddies with the students doesn't work. I mentioned the line, you have to continue to keep that clear line between student and teacher. Friendly but firm is the way to approach it, and they will respect that. You cannot try to be one of their friends. When you have an effective, well thought out discipline strategy in place, then your job is going to be much more enjoyable, and you can relax more, you can be yourself more, you can have fun with the students, and they will respect your rules and expectations of them. I always remember a principal having a sign behind him in his office. He would say to, the sign said, "Don't bring me your problems, bring me your solutions." And I like that, and I always remembered that as a good motto to respect. So parents sometimes have problems with their kids at home. They might have one or two, and they would come to parents' nights, and they would say, "I don't know how you do it. I have a hard time just managing my two kids at home." And here we are with 30 in a class at the same time. So it's a unique community in that respect, and one though that you have to manage manage wisely, and it can be done. So there's some ideas for you, and I'm sure that the classroom will work well if you do things like that, and you will be the successful teacher. Next video, we are looking at the topic of respect.